Hi, and welcome to the presentation video of Protector 30. I am Piero, Technical Director of SecPoint, and in this video I'm going to talk about SSL VPN, which is the main enhancement of this firmware. SSL VPN allows users to access network services through a web portal secured by SSL encryption. In this firmware, we have added a new SSL VPN portal to the Protector. It can be configured through menu VPN, SSL VPN Setup, where you can enable or disable the SSL VPN module and run an installation wizard. When the SSL VPN module is active, the Protector enables a web portal where authorized users can connect. The connection is available through a web browser, which must have Java enabled, and once authenticated, users have access to all network services that have been authorized to use. With the Protector, SSL VPN comes pre-configured. However, basic installation parameters can be changed by running the installation wizard here in the setup page. You can click on installation wizard in the SSL VPN control panel, and this will open the wizard in a new tab of your browser. When the installation wizard opens, it will show this page. Here you have a 6-step wizard, and at the first step you can change the SSL certificate by creating a self-signed certificate or importing an existing one. When you have done, click Next, and you are at step 2, where you can configure the database of users authorized to access the SSL VPN. You have Active Directory, built-in, or Unix. If you don't want to use or you don't have an Active Directory server, you can use the built-in database. Then you click Next. Here you can configure the administrator user, which is the user who is going to configure resources for users who want to connect to the SSL VPN. Here we have admin user. We can enter a password. Then we click Next. Here we are going to configure the SSL VPN web server's port. When the SSL VPN module is active, the portal will be listening on a port of your Protector, which therefore must be on a public IP or on a forwarded port of an IP inside your LAN. This is necessary, otherwise users outside your LAN cannot access the SSL VPN server. So here you have to enter the port number, then you can leave all other fields as they are. We suggest to leave the HTTPS protocol. Then if you want to limit access to some host names, you can enter them in valid external host names and define an action in invalid hostname action. Then you can click Next. Here you can enter the parameters for an external proxy server if the SSL VPN server needs to access some external resources through a proxy. Then you click Next, and at page 6 we have a summary of the new parameters. We can click Finish, and the parameters will be installed. At the end we can click on Exit Install. We have a countdown, and when the countdown reaches 0, we can leave this page and return to the SSL VPN control panel. Now in the control panel we can start the SSL VPN service by clicking on this button, and here we are. Once the installation is done and when the SSL VPN module is active, we can enter the management console. The management console can be used to enable or disable user accounts, configure network resources to be made available through the web portal, install new extensions from the SecPoint App Store. Here you can enter the admin user and the password that we have set up in the installation wizard. And here we are in the home page of the management console. This console will open in a new tab of your web browser. Here you can create new user accounts and grant them access to network resources. Let's see how. Let's see, for example, how to create a new user account. Click on Accounts in the Access Control menu on the left. In this page we can see the administrator user that has been created in the installation wizard. To create a new user, we can click on Create Account in the Actions box. We can enter the username, a full name for this user. We can click Enabled if we want the user to be immediately active. Then we can click Save. We now enter a password and click Save again, and the user will be created and immediately active. But now we have to add some resources to the user, otherwise the user will not be entitled to do anything when he logs in the SSL VPN portal. For example, we can add a network folder. To grant access to network folders, click on Network Places in the Resources menu. Then we can click on Create Network Place on the top right side of the page. Here we can enter a name, which is the name that will be visible to the users, and some description. Then we can click Next. Now we must enter the path to the network folder and the other parameters if needed. Of course, the network folder we want to share must be accessible from the protector unit. We can, for example, in this case, share the root folder of the protector. Then we click Next, and in the next page we have to select the access policy we want to associate to this resource. There is a default policy, everyone, that will entitle all existing users to access the network resource. If this is okay for you, click on Everyone and then click Add. At the end, click Finish, and the network place is created. If you want to create different access policies, you can click on Policies in the Access Control menu on the left. Here you can create new policies and add users and groups to them. This way you can associate each new resource to a different group or even to a different user. Now let's see how to configure the remote desktop. You can use the SSL VPN web portal to give users remote access to specific computers in your LAN. To do this, you must first install the remote desktop extension. Now you should click on Extension Manager in the configuration menu. Then click on Remote Access tab. You can see the list of extensions for remote access that are available on the SecPoint App Store. Click on this button to install the Microsoft RDP client. The extension will download from the SecPoint App Store and will automatically install. At the end of the installation, you can click on the tab Installed and see that the extension has been installed. Now we have to make this extension available to users. To do this, we have to publish it. The resource must be published once for each computer we want to connect to through the RDP. Now we can click on Application in the Resources menu. Now we must click on Create Application Shortcut in the top right side of the page. Now we have to select the application. We can see that we have only Microsoft RDP Client, which is the only extension that we have installed. Click Next. Then we should type a unique name and description for this connection. For example, mail server or whatever you want. We should now enter the host name or IP address of this computer. Of course, this computer must be visible from the protector unit. the port for remote desktop is 3389, so you can leave this field unchanged. If you want, you can enter username and password. If you leave these fields blank, user will be prompted for these fields when he connects to this host name. Then click next. Once again, we have to choose the policy. We can click everyone, add, then click next. Here we have a summary. We can click finish, and at the end we click on exit wizard, and this resource has been published. In fact, we can see this new resource in the list of the available applications. From now on, to create an RDP connection to another machine, it is enough to click on Create Application Shortcut and follow the steps that we have followed right now. Now let's come to the user login. Users can log in to port 8444 of your protector, provided that your protector is on a public IP. I want to remind you that the SSL VPN is available at port 8444 of your protector, since this is the port number that has been configured during the installation. If the protector is not on a public IP, to make the SSL VPN available to users on the internet, you must necessarily forward a port from one of your public IPs to port 8444 of the protector unit. Now let's log in. Here we can enter the username that we have created, the password, and here we are. This is the home page that every user is going to see logging in the SSL VPN. When users connect to the SSL VPN portal, they can access all resources that have been previously authorized to use by the administrator user. In this case, user 1 can access one network folder and one machine through the remote desktop. To access the remote folder, click on Network Places in the Resources menu. Then click on Root Folder, which is the name of the resource as it has been configured by the administrator. This will open in a pop-up window, and to open it you must check that pop-ups are not disabled on your web browser. Here you can do all actions that have been configured by your administrator. Now to open Remote Desktop, click on My Applications in the Resources menu. Here you will find the icon of the computer that has been created as Remote Desktop resource by the administrator user. If we click on the name of the computer, a Java application will launch through which we can access this computer through Remote Desktop. Please note, Remote Desktop through SSL VPN uses Java, therefore Java must be installed and enabled on client computers in order to access the Remote Desktop resource. If Java is not installed, you will see an error message on your web browser. To activate the remote desktop connection, click on Computer 1. This will launch a Java application. This Java application is the SSL VPN agent, which will download and install on your computer. Then automatically the remote desktop application will open. The remote desktop on the client machine will establish a connection to the SSL VPN agent on the local machine. In fact, we can see that we are connected to the IP of the local machine. The SSL VPN agent will then take care of forwarding the request through the SSL tunnel to the protector and then to the target machine. When the SSL VPN agent is no longer needed, you can shut down it by clicking on this button. Well, I hope everything is clear about the SSL VPN. However, should you have any questions, you can always watch this video, read the release notes document, or contact SecPoint support anytime for further details. Thank you for following this tutorial and see you next time. Bye bye.